Okay, session is recording. Right, guys, so we all know, okay, I think this is session number 6 or what. You can just correct me in the chat. But either way, yeah, just let's keep going. This is session number 6. And in all the sessions, guys, I go a bit mainly focus on technical analysis, right? Session number 1 was technical. Session number 2 was also technical. Session number 3 was psychology, right? So I know a lot of people that are struggling with psychology. Like, guys, it's important to go to session number 3. That's where I was talking about. That's where I was, what did I talk about? I talk about a lot, but that's where I was talking about things like losses. You're not going to get a trade every day. You need to wait patiently to trade. You need to wait patiently for the setup to play out. That's what I think. That's what I said. Trading is 80% raising, 10% buying, 10% selling. Because most of the time, you're waiting for the market to come down to your entry point. Waiting in our case, we're waiting for the market to form a trend, right? Because you guys know that we're trading trend lines. So waiting for the market to form a trend, right? So days could go by without a setup coming, days, weeks, stuff like that. You're waiting, days could go by like you waiting for that third touch, it takes a day, 2, 3, possibly even a week, like I have many setups analyzed. And they're not yet on the group and stuff like that. Like I'm still watching them behind the scenes, waiting for them, slowly but surely they come. Slowly but surely they come. You're not going to trade all 36 pairs, it's impossible. So yeah, guys, but I don't want to go too much into psychology, but guys, like patience is needed, you know, patience is needed. You just have the right mindset, but let's not waste time because we only have 40 minutes. Someone's calling. We only have 40 minutes, right? So I just need everybody this week, guys, to go through all the sessions from one to today's one. Okay, from 1 to 5. If you're here, you're fine, but you can rewatch this. But it's important, guys, to watch all the sessions because people tend to ask me questions that I covered in the session, like where to set a stop loss. That's in session 2. How to say take profits. I went over that in session 2. It was like the highs and all that, guys. So it's important, guys, to rewatch the sessions. That's why they saved, So today's session, last session, I had that diagram, I had that whiteboard of lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. I'm sure you guys remember. Am I wrong? I think I had that. Just type yes if I'm correct. A lot goes on, so I forget. But yeah, last session I was drawing, showing you guys how to identify trends, and like that's the solid rule, what I showed, what I taught in that video is like, that's the key. That's the key information, So it's pointless going over and over and over again in every session, like wasting time when it's already recorded and saved on the group, So today's session, I just want to strictly go into, yeah, okay, perfect. So in today's session, I strictly want to go into analyzing the market, right? I want to go into looking at the market straight, right? So I'm sure by now it's drilled in everyone's head, guys, how we look at the market. Right? Remember, like I said, we want to zoom out, right? Zooming out helps us with connecting our trend line. I want to put this thing at the bottom. Zooming out helps us with connecting our trend lines, because we see our lows, we see our lower lows and lower highs clearly, also higher highs, higher lows clearly, guys. So right here, you can see that on NAS, our lower lows are clear when zoomed out. Whereas if you're looking at the market like this, let's say you open your charts and you just look here, like I'm not saying it's incorrect, but it's better to zoom out because you have a better understanding of the market, So you can see that, oh, okay, Nasdaq from here has been very bullish, and you understand, you can see that, okay, you have a low, second low, third low, third touch, that's what went up, stuff like that. So it's important to have an understanding of the market. You need to know why it moves the way it moves. So I know that's boring stuff, beginner stuff, but not a lot of people know that it's important to zoom out, guys. If people find, I tend to have people struggle with like connecting trend lines and everything. So try zooming out, and that'll help, guys. So I know I usually zoom out about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Yeah, 5 times, right? Okay, no, 4, 5 is too much, right? And I just connect my trend line on the obvious lows. You see, let me just zoom in now so it's clear. So you see first low, low, second. Let me just connect it properly first. Fix this. Okay, there we go. So you see with 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Right. Sorry, I need to take this. Sure. Sure, imang zokufonela. Sure. So you do the same for your parallel, guys. For your parallel trend line, guys, you want to connect your trend line on the highs, right? This is just a touch up on the basics. So you can see this lower high over here. First touch, second touch. And as I anticipated last week, actually no, the week before, the Nas is going to give us, that Nas is going to drop after giving us the third touch. And as you can see, it did drop. However, it did actually play around. I had entries over here and I eventually got taken out. That's just the market just doing its thing. Can you guys still hear me? I took my AirPod out. Can you still just type here quickly if you can hear? Or must I repeat that? Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah. So guys, some how do I say it? Like even me, I find myself in situations where I can see a setup and I anticipate it, right? But then my execution isn't the best, right? Like I anticipated a sell. After seeing this daily, remember guys, you always wait for the daily candle to close, right? After seeing this daily candle, guys, I entered sold immediately. My entry point was like somewhere down here, right? And as you can see, yeah, I blew that account. I'm not even I blew that account, right? And that's just the market doing its thing. Sometimes the market does it, sometimes the market plays around. It creates structure, it creates more like trends within our trend. I'll show you guys on the smaller time frame, right? So that's my analysis, okay, on daily, guys. Remember, always on daily. So we know now on daily we can actually anticipate Nasdaq to eventually fall all the way down to this trend line, guys. Overall view. Remember when we had this last fourth touch over here, we anticipated Nas to shoot all the way up, right, and come back down. So right now we actually got our third touch. So now I'm expecting Nas to retrace all the way down to our upward trend line for a duplicate of this over here, right? So let's get more practical. Today I'm gonna be a bit slower just so everyone understands. Yeah, okay, perfect. Right. So me, guys, like I want to show you that it's okay to like make mistakes, Like I rushed this entry. I saw that that was here. I had entered over here, sold profits, but eventually got taken out. Reason being is because there was structure within structure. Right. So as you can see, look at my phone. Sorry for the distraction. So I need to go to H1 so everything is clear, guys. So let me just break down why Nas dropped so hard, right? So this is what I mean by structure within structure, guys. You can see, let me just delete this trend line. Don't forget it. We had a channel, not necessarily a channel, but some like structure, on H1, right? So Nas was playing in this channel, right? So yes, I'm not gonna lie, I had my entry around somewhere here, I know it wasn't there. It was around, yeah. I'll check the trade history, but it's take time. Um, so yeah, it was here. It was here. And I also saw the double top. So I entered, right? But then as you can see, eventually it took me out. It didn't shoot down as it shot down now, so it took me out at the positions through that account, right? And that's because usually, guys, the market likes to form trends within trends. What I mean by that is that you can clearly see that on the daily candle, all the daily candles were dojis, spinning tops. You can see, right? But then what the market likes to do is that it likes to form patterns within a trend, right? This is usually done to give us more entry points. This is usually done to take out all the people who entered early, including me, in this case, unfortunately. But yeah. So then later on, I saw that, okay, NASDAQ is doing this thing where creates a pattern within a pattern, a trend within a trend, So I'm like, I know the overall direction that NASDAQ is going to drop, right? So now it's all about the entry points, right? So I'm just breaking this down to all those who possibly confused as to why NAS dropped so much, right? So as you can see, guys, we would have connected our trend on our lower highs, right? So first touch, second touch, third touch, right? Third touch we anticipate a drop. Third touch we anticipate a drop. You can see that it pretty much consolidated around our entry points, possibly took out those that barcoded or entered more positions, and then eventually started to drop down nicely, right? And as you can see, so we're at this point right now, right? These lower lows have formed. We have our third touch here, right? So obviously, when it touches our trade line for the fourth touch, we're going to close, right? Then you can execute buys, but I don't like to play cat and mouse with the markets. I don't like to like run with it, Like let's say, for example, guys, you caught the sell here. You have no reason to catch this buy. Like, why are you being greedy? What if this just breaks and then, goes all the way down and you literally lost all your profits? You need to learn to like control yourself, hold yourself. Yes, you can see a setup happening, but that doesn't mean you have to execute it, right? So eventually, guys, you can see that Nats actually broke and gave us a retest, right? Broke, gave us a retest, right? And then dropped. And then again, did the same thing. We're just forming patterns within structure, right? So you can see that I actually had this trend line over there. Yeah. So you can see that the reason for this massive drop here was actually because of this previous high over here, right? So you can see that this previous high, right? Previous high, we have a first top. So in this case, we'll see a potential double top pattern, right? So you can see that we have our first top and we obviously anticipate a second top, right? And also in this case, we'll draw a downward trend line, but we started from here, right? So when you see this high in the middle, guys, like this is usually our first top. It's usually, this is where it gets confusing. It's usually our first top or it's actually our second touch of the trend line. So you need to look to the left to look for look at the previous high and see if you can connect the trend line, right? So you can see that we have first touch, second touch, and third touch, right? So this is why it dropped so massive impulsively, because it's two setups, right? It's a double top. This is the first top, second top. So a double top pattern and the third touch of the trend line. That's that shot all the way down, right? So I was just breaking down why that's that shot all the way down, right? So wait, before I go on, do you guys understand that pattern separation? Are you guys understanding? And head and shoulders within. Let me see. Head and shoulders within. Oh yeah, yeah. But you see, it wouldn't. Oh yeah, yeah. I see the head and shoulders. This would be the neckline, and then you could say, but it's not a nice one. But yeah, I see. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. But the main reason for this drop, I follow. Yeah, I know it sounds confusing, guys. Like NAS is very confusing. I need you to pay attention, right? So Internet's unstable. Why? So yeah, guys. So the reason for this massive drop was simply because of the double top and the third touch on the trend line, right? So just like what we do with all our trend lines, we tend to extend them, right? Because the market, guys, I'm not going to say always, but most of the time retraces back to our trend line, right? So honestly speaking, I wouldn't be surprised if NAS retraces this week back to our trend line and we get a times two of this move over here, another impulsive move to the downside, right? But let's focus on what NAS is going to do right now based on reading market structure, looking at market structure, right? So in these cases, guys, it's like hard to trade NAS because you'll be like, okay, so these lower lows were broken, they're invalid. Okay. You'll try connecting a trend line from here, right? It won't connect, you know. You can't necessarily do this because you'd have to wait for this. You need to wait for a lower low to be created, you know, and you can't predict where lower lows are going to form, right? So in these situations, guys, we tend like this is where like support and resistance comes into play, right? A whole of you guys know that I'm not really fond of support and resistance. I just I like to wait for confirmation with the trend line, you know. But this is where support and resistance come into play, right? So we know based off supports and resistance, guys, we can actually because this is the only nearest like high, guys. This is only potential reversing points, right? Let me just explain quickly, like guys, previous highs and lows are potential reversing points, especially on Nasdaq. Nasdaq likes to retest previous highs or previous lows, right? Meaning that Nasdaq could drop down to the zone over here, which we had these previous, I'll zoom properly, these previous highs over here, right? So I mean, we can expect NAS to drop down. We can expect it to shoot down, right? And this zone here would be a point of interest. You know, we want to see if it will respect or if it will break. You know, if it respects, you know, wait for solid confirmation candle to buy, right? And it'll actually go in favor with the overall setup with this trend line here. Remember, we have a third touch on the trend line, so we're actually anticipating the fourth touch. So if this one is respected, then that's going to go in favor with our setup. You know, then we can anticipate next to buy, to retrace all the way back up to our trend line, right? That's just my outlook on NAS based on the strategy that we use. Or NAS could actually, we don't really necessarily want to predict, guys. We just want to wait for the market to play out and then see. We trade what we see, not what we think, right? But however, overall explanation, if this zone here is respected, if it's respected, meaning that if momentum slows down, if we get a reversal candlestick, such as a doji, bullish engulfing candle, stuff like that, then we can anticipate buys. We can anticipate buys on Nasdaq, possibly all the way back up to the trend line. Remember, guys, the market likes to retrace back to our trend line. What we like to wait for the market to retrace back to our trend line because the trend line is where we usually enter trades. So do you guys understand that Nasdaq is in a very like sticky place right now? Do you guys understand that? It's proper. Alright, so that was nice. Let me look at gold. The gold sets up one. Yes, sir, yes. It's proper. The gold sets up one, guys. Remember, I don't want to start the analysis from the beginning, but from the last Zoom session, everybody knows that we had this zone of support over here. Right? We had a triple bottom. This is the third bottom. Hence why the market shot up so impulsively, right? And then I did anticipate. Initially, you can go back to the last Zoom session. I did say that we're going to get a repeat of this, but in reverse. meaning that this is a triple bottom. So I'm expecting a triple top. And indeed, we got it. We got it. You can see that the market dropped, right? So also gold, guys. Gold also likes to play out in support and resistance. It favors support and resistance. Trend lines do work too, but like I struggle with trend lines on gold. That's why I don't trade gold. But I do analyze it, watch it with support and resistance. You see, like with trend lines, there isn't really much to it. It's not juicy like Nasdaq and currency pairs. Right. So looking at gold right now, this is daily, remember, guys. So you can see we have this triple top, which is why gold melted all the way down. Right. So I'm actually expecting it to drop all the way down to this zone over here. The reason why I want to drop to this zone is because you can see this is an area of confluence. Right. When I say area of confluence, I just mean that it's an area with like a lot of sensitivity, guys. What I mean by that is that you can see the once resistance, resisted off here, broke, supported, came back. So breakouts and retest, bought, check. Came back down here, supported off, Here I actually broke. We were expecting a retest, but that retest didn't come because of the triple bottom. That was no surprise. So right now I'm expecting gold. I just want to see how it plays. I want to see how it reacts to this zone over here, right? And if we do see some sign of reversal or slowdown momentum, then I am actually anticipating major buys. Reason being is that because this is a potential inverted head and shoulders pattern playing out, right? So if you don't see it, this is the left shoulder, and this is the right shoulder. Let's buy a mouse. I will left shoulder. This is the head. Sorry, left shoulder. This is the head. This is the head, not the right shoulder. Sorry, this is the right shoulder here that's playing out right now. So left shoulder, head, and now we're waiting for the right shoulder to play out. So and we're only on daily time frame, guys. See the importance of starting your analysis on a bigger time frame, right? But let me not neglect my trend lines. Let me see what I can do. Okay, we have that. See a clear breakout. There was possibly a retest on the smaller time frame, but there isn't really. Oh, there we go. So we can actually still catch the sun, right? Because you can actually see it's still we're literally in the middle of this movement, right? So I connected this trend line on our lower lows. So first touch, second touch, third touch. Right? The third touch in this case wasn't too powerful because remember, guys, the overall picture. Looking at the overall picture, gold is extremely. I'm touching the screen as if you can see. Gold is extremely bearish, meaning that you can expect major sells, right? So this third touch here wasn't really powerful because it's actually against the trend. It's against overall movement, right? Overall momentum, right? So in this case, the reason why I drew this trend line is actually because I'm gonna wait for the markets. I want to see if it's actually okay. Most chances that it's gonna break, right? Close below, wait for a retest, right? Then on the retest, we can enter, right? On the retest, we can enter for sales. Let me just delete this because it's really confused. There we go. So this is the type of setup I'm waiting for. A breakout, retest, sells back down to the zone over here. So that's my analysis on gold. Some sorts of inverted and shoulders forming too. Yeah. 100%. 100%. So are you guys understanding? Like there isn't, your analysis is like what you see is usually what's gonna happen, Like that's why I always say, guys, trade the first setup you see. When you see another setup, that's because you're looking at the market too much and everything, So just type a yes if you're understanding so far. Let's take a video here. Online session. It's everyone's understanding. We do proper Transition. Okay. I didn't say you know the vibes. Hold on. I'll tell you later. Don't want to waste time. So that's gold, Nasdaq. What else did I write here? Roads. No, not just. I wanted to go through some currencies. My analysis is good, but my psychology came. Yeah, dog. Like you need to watch number 2. I think Zoom session 2 or 3. I spent like 20 minutes. I spent 20 minutes just going into psychology. I don't know what's happening with this now. Which analysis? Oh, yeah, this is the setup that's valid right now. This is the one setup that is valid right now. Let me just. This setup pays, but it requires you to risk, but it pays. Because never be afraid to enter trades. No risk, no reward, guys. No risk, no reward. I'm not saying go all in as in like go full margin, but just risk. If I played it safe, if I only opened 0.01, I wouldn't be here, I doubt that I'll be here. So, able. Sorry about that. This is your GBP, guys. This pay is slipped on. This pay is slipped on. This is my favorite currency pay. This is my favorite currency pay because it literally respects the small movements and the small setups. There was a time where, this is even on my story highlights, I deposited 3K and I had a turnover of 28K profits. It's all on my highlights. You'll see Euro GBP. Euro GBP. I used like 1.50 lots because it's currencies, right? Because you're running out of time, let me just analyze this thing quick, right? So you see, connected my trend line on my highs, right? So you can see we have a first touch, second touch, third touch, fourth touch, right? Which was our most recent movements, right? So after the fourth touch, this pay has a lot of fake outs, so you need to be cautious of that, right? So after our fourth touch, you can see that it dropped, right? Let me just plot this zone over here. I am expecting it to drop all the way down to here, right? Overall, right? So after the fourth touch, you can see that it's pretty much dropping, right? We do have more entry points, like retests, previous zones, areas of high confluence. Remember, as I said, high confluence, like there's a lot of sensitivity there, So you can see your GBP resisted, broke out, support, shot up, came back down, supported, played around, eventually shot up, right? So as you can see now, it's literally a replica of that setup. You can see that we're now resisting, and it actually has started dropping, but it's retracing. Remember, guys, every single retracement is an entry point. So let's focus on over here. Let's focus on this over here. We start on H4. Look at how much information we've gotten from the market. Look how much we understand. Look at how much we understand Euro GBP. We start on the daily time frame. We only looked at 2 time frames, daily and H4, and we know that we want to look for heavy sells all the way down to here. If you open the charts here, you'll be like clueless. You'll be like, okay, is this thing buying overall or is it selling? Overall. But we know that it's selling because we started on the bigger time frame, right? So you can see this is that H4 candlestick, these candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, sure. So now this is multi-time frame analysis at its best, guys. Right now we add an entry point. You can sell Euro GBP. As you can see, we have our first time, second, third touch. Simple setup, right? So I'm actually expecting this thing to drop. Tight stop loss back at this zone over here. If it takes us out, we enter again. I'm gonna set this thing properly. Yeah, there we go. And then this entry point, this should be like the last retracement. Yet again, I'm not predicting the market, but I am expecting this one. Our first take profit for this one can be this previous over here. then obviously we're gonna form like a double top, short term, a temporary double top pattern, short term buy, fiddle around, take out all the small accounts, take out all the trading stop losses, and then eventually break all the way down to come down here. Are you guys understand? Did you guys understand that? Did you guys understand? Let me see. Put this bigger. I'm looking at the chats. Type yes if you type yes or no if you understood that. Type yes or no if you understood that. Online session, you know the vibes. You know the vibes. All right, everyone's understanding proper. You know the vibes. You know the vibes. Online session. Okay, let me switch off. Let me switch on the mic. Okay, let me stop the recording. Right. This is for all the people who couldn't get in. So yeah, there are going to be more setups provided throughout the week. Remember, guys, one thing about me, I want to make sure I give out the best setups. Whether it takes a day or two for the setup to play out, I'll wait before giving it out. Just like that Euro USD, that one melted, So yeah, more setups will be provided